allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is going to be the recording secretary. Would you call the roll, please?
Ron? Here.
Colazzo, DeBiser, Ford, Frick, Herring, Lancaster, Newell, Smith, Steelman, Taylor. 11 present, 0 absent.
Changes to the agenda.
Peter, if I may, just a reminder, I'll be doing an action item that pertains with Light Up Night.
And you'll be doing that under the public safety.
Peter, how do you feel about moving the council vacancy decision to after public comment or after executive session before committee reports? I think a lot of folks are here for that. We could have folks wait the whole meeting. I'm suggesting that we move the council vacancy decision to the top or to just after public comment or after executive session before the committee.
How does the rest of the council feel about it?
I think that's a good idea.
I agree.
I agree. What?
Sounds like a general consensus, so we will do that. We'll make that change. Business, just that part of the new business up to after the executive session.
Like to have a new business about the.
Did all the council members need to speak up? We can really hear you.
Is it? This works, right? But do I have to bend down like this? Be considerate of where the microphone is, apparently. We all know that the acoustics in this room are terrible. We all know that this building is scheduled for total refurbishing, but in the meantime, we make do with what we have. In your packet, you have the minutes of the October council meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
No.
Bring that up after the motion has been made, but before we vote, okay? So, we had a motion, we have a second? Second. All right, and discussion.
So I'm not entirely sure what it needs to be corrected. But in the minutes, it had 10 council names, and then right below it said 11 present. And then if you scroll down a few more, there was a 10-0 vote, and then the next paragraph was a 10-2 vote. And so something in that is not correct. Like I said, there's an inconsistency in there. I'm not 100% sure. I don't specifically remember. Was
there one attending virtually? It was a council member attending virtually?
Yeah, G was attending.
name was actually the name missing.
Okay,
Do you remember if you were there? I do not recall if she was there personally.
for not my committee meeting, but the actual
For
October
the
meeting.
actual meeting. I believe your name
I
was.
believe I was here, but let me. You? Yeah, I thought it was September.
Yeah, it was G. G was on the Zoom.
Her name was not.
Yeah, I
So-
was here.
So there might be multiple errors in that particular recording, potentially. Because if she was there, then
I
her
was
name needs
there.
to be added.
Yes. Right, because he was virtual.
Because he was virtual.
Yep,
That's why.
Okay, but her name would still need to be
added.
added. I think if on the right spot. Plaza.
I didn't even catch that.
No, that's not that. That must be the work session.
Yeah, that is work.
That's the work session.
We're dealing with the regular meeting now.
Regular meeting or the workshop session?
Yeah, sorry. I pulled up the work session on my screen. Sorry. So,
But yeah, my name's not listed on there, but I was.
right.
Pending.
All right, so. You correct.
Well, I don't know. Were you here?
I was.
Last month, yes.
Okay. And then if you, I apologize, but if you scroll down, there was a. Now, I do believe, as Poom you stated, or Gerald, well, somebody stated, I think Gerald was virtual that time. So that would explain the 10-0 vote. But I think,
It should have been 8-2. Because there were only 10 of us here.
or 10-0, I can't recall. Yeah, so
No.
motion for Public Works
it
Committee
was-
to approve pay application in the amount of 8,700, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
There was a roll call vote, 10 yes, 2 no, motion carried. So clearly that is in error.
Yes, 2 no. That's correct.
So it should be 10 yes, 0 no?
Unanimous? Okay.
Yeah.
We have, I mean, we can go back and check the.
The recording.
Yeah.
Can we,
recording.
can we have that verified of the recording?
Certain, but it seems like the 10 yes, 2 no should have been 10 yes, 0 no. It just was written as a 2 and not caught, so.
Payment to someone being overly contentious, so.
So Carl, you're gonna.
Good catch.
I'll check it with Lori and we'll correct it as needed.
Corrections to the minutes of the October regular meeting.
No.
Seeing none. As corrected. All in favor of approval. Signify by saying aye. And we also have the minutes of the work session. Is there a motion to approve those? And a second, moved in second, is there any discussion of those minutes? Additions, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. And we have the September financial report. Is there a motion to approve that?
Move to approve.
Second, is there any discussion of the financial report? Signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Now is the time for public comment, and under our current policy, I'm going to call people in the order in which they signed in. And remember, you get 3 minutes to speak. She's leaving. Victor Thomas Black.
Y'all again. All right, so I'm here for the council position. My name is Victor Thomas Black, and I am submitting my request to fill the available seat of the council as a proud lifelong citizen of our beloved town of Indiana, PA. In our community, it is so very important that we are consistently active in all things local to ensure a safe, welcoming, and prosperous environment for all. As a millennial who has proudly grown up in Appalachia, I believe I come with a progressively fresh perspective that allows me the ability to see, understand, and respect both sides of the political fence.
Did you start the timer? I forgot to mention that. You start it now, please, and you get an extra second.
That's a proud.
I come with a progressively fresh perspective that allows me the ability to see, understand, and respect both sides of the political fence. I also believe that the ability to reach across the aisle and work together as leaders of this community is of the utmost importance. I'm coming with not only an eagerness and willingness to reach across the aisle, but also a proudly successful history of doing so, which, if granted this position, would continue to be a stance I promise to happily uphold and maintain. Together, united and indivisible is how we will continue to prosper as a town. I have an extensive history of organizing historic events, communal service, attending council meetings, life experience, and in my time doing so, I have gotten to know a vast array of citizens in our town, thus providing me with a significant insight to our town's wants and needs. I feel that it is my duty to step up when an opportunity such as this becomes available. An opportunity of the highest respects that I will swear to uphold to the best of my ability, and it would be my honor to fill this position and serve my community with all of you. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Holly is next, but I see she just left, so. Jeremy, you're up. You don't really need to, you just need to push it again. It should be saying 3 minutes now.
Saying a minute. I got it. Yeah, I know. Hello, guys. Are you glad to see me again? This time, instead of talking about the disability, I'm talking about you're not allowing bikes to be ridden on Philadelphia Street. If you're gonna get rid of bikes, you should get rid of strollers, you should get rid of wheelchairs, and you should get rid of everything else that people use to move around downtown. So if you're gonna take away bikes, take away strollers, take away wheelchairs, power wheelchairs and everything like that, because if you're going to discriminate against people, make sure it's everybody. Don't just pick people on bikes, because that's disrespectful. That's like JFK or Martin Luther King, talking about getting blacks the rights for this from this country that are promised in the Constitution. You're supposed to treat everybody equally, not separately, from riding a bike or a stroller or a wheelchair. And if you want to put them on the road, take away the damn parking and make bike lanes so people don't get killed by idiot drivers on Philadelphia Street, unless you want that on your conscience. If you want that to get you kicked out of office, if you want that to get you kicked out of here, be more respectful for people riding bikes. They're not doing anything. Their bikes take up less room than a stroller does, less room than a wheelchair does. So if you're gonna get rid of the bike, get rid of all the damn wheels on Philadelphia Street, guys. Don't just segregate it against bikes. And then for my last comment, I just want to say thank you for taking money from different things and putting it towards restoring the sidewalks for disabled people, wheelchairs, strollers, everything like that. Thank you for doing that. I want to give you props for actually listening to me for 2 months, complaining about that. And I just want to say, you guys shouldn't work on so many roads that are connected, because today I got fucked over while going down an alley. Then I had to take a right turn, then a left turn. Then instead of that, I got fucked and had to go the whole way down to the old Sheets on campus to turn around, which was complete bullshit. So quit fucking over drivers also. Thank you for your time and have a good evening.
Mhm.
Shouldn't laugh, but I agree with him.
You can figure out how to make that timer work. It's supposed to be set for 3 minutes.
And it'll just start on its own.
The big round.
Sue Majoris. I have a desire to fill the vacancy for Borough Council. I sent in a quick email when I saw the article in the newspaper on the front page, and didn't really say a lot about myself. So I thought I'd come and just give you a little lowdown on me. I was born in Erie, 1953. I am a graduate of Mercy Hospital School of Nursing in 1973, so I lived in Pittsburgh for a while. My husband Paul is here. We've been married 49 years. We have 5 children, and all of them excelled at St. Bernard's and the Indiana School District. One of my children is living in Indiana still, and she's teaching in the Indiana School District. I have 7 grandkids. One is a student in the Indiana School District, and I have 1 great-grandchild. Professionally, I've been a nurse for 46 years as an RN. I was a Mercy, a Forbes Regional, and an Indiana Hospital ICU nurse. I've gained a fellowship in ASPA-Lamaze, which is childbirth education, for 29 years, board certified in lactation also. I created the perinatal education department and programs at Indiana Regional. I piloted and coordinated a national mother-friendly and baby-friendly initiative in Indiana, and our hospital was a model program for that initiative. And just a side note, PennDOT was the first to have a lactation lounge for breastfeeding moms. Indiana Regional was the second, but it's quite nice to say that an organization like PennDOT was first. I have written grants. I have a lot of leadership and management training and experience. I'm a grant writer, and I've managed grants also. I've worked closely with the Amish and grant funded an Amish trilogy project, and I have worked with them very closely in the Amish community. I have also started and maintained various support groups for folks that are living with cancer. Volunteer-wise, I have volunteered with Soccer Boosters, Indiana Players, St. Vincent de Paul, Relay for Life, Love of Life fundraisers for Birdie's Closet, North Appalachian Folk Festival, and I helped administer vaccines at the immunization clinics. I am a part of the Indiana County Herb Study Group, and I also volunteer with Evergreen Conservancy, doing data loggers on 4 streams in the county. I am a leader for our Courage in Cancer group, which is folks that are living with cancer, and we meet monthly and have Zoom meetings every Wednesday. My hobbies are family, friends, guitar, garden, and I do like the events that we have in town. And that's all.
Thank you. Paul Majoris?
Joris, and I'm here to support Sue. In all the years that we've been married, Sue never ceases to amaze me. She just, when she gets involved with something, she jumps in with both feet. When she says that she's certified as a lactation consultant, you cannot believe what it takes for a nurse to become certified and how much study that she put into that. When she says that she started a lactation, or she started a nurse navigator program at Indiana Hospital, that was huge. Indiana Hospital asked her to start a program. They did not even have a job description. She generated the job description. She went to meetings. She went to conferences. She studied. And on top of that, she decided, you know, I should probably become an oncology nurse, certified oncology. She sat down and she studied for that, which is huge, to become a certified oncology nurse. She's a born leader. She's a born manager. When she started the childbirth education program at Indiana Hospital, they didn't have one. They didn't know they needed one. She walked into the hospital and convinced them that they needed a program. And within a few years, she had 5 highly qualified nurses working for her, teaching classes. And she did the same with the nurse navigator program. She started that from scratch, and it became a model for, other navigator programs. Sue's just, she's a born leader, a born manager. She went to the herb study group. It's just a small, group of people who study herbs. Within a year, she was the president. And we didn't even have a garden yet, but she ended up being the president of the herb study groups. That's just the kind of person she is. So if she takes this position, you can be assured that she'll jump in with both feet and really take it seriously. Thank you.
Jonathan Smith.
Like it's a test.
Here we go.
No problem. It's a big problem.
I'll be short, don't worry. All right. I'll start by thanking all my fellow applicants for their work in the borough and congratulate them on their awesome achievements. It's really incredible to be considered along such great competition. I'd also like to thank the council for its time and the many opportunities that have emerged from its brave leadership over the past few years. When I returned to Indiana in 2021, I was pleasantly surprised to see such a vibrant Main Street. It has made me want to seek out community organizing positions so that I could become reconnected with this community again. As a council applicant, I bring a cultivated, fresh perspective on local governance and experience working with municipalities on long-term planning issues, specifically the city of Erie on their climate action planning process and greenhouse gas emission survey. My drive comes from a passion for sustainability, and the achievement of a just transition will be the great work of my lifetime. I hope that this journey includes my success as a council member, and I thank you all for your time.
Finally, Shauna Nybert. Nope. In that case, we had a process for submitting a letter of interest, and that time has passed. I'm sorry.
We'll let you
But
know.
there will possibly be another one coming up, so. Oh, that's actually, you said you live on College Lodge Road, right? That's not in the borough of Indiana, so
You're not eligible.
you're not eligible.
Oh, but now you're being discriminatory against people who are living 30 meters away from the line.
Gotta do something.
I'm sorry, that's the law, and this is not a time for discussion. And in fact, at this particular time, I'm going to have to disappoint everyone and ask everyone in the audience to please step outside so that we can have a brief executive session for personnel matters.
After, it's after executive.
Oh, yes. All right. So everyone knows the way the council has always dealt with vacancies on the council is that the remaining council members from the ward that's affected present candidates in the order in which your nomination is made. The first one that's made that gets sufficient votes to be approved is the person selected. So. Candidates presented by the council members from the East Ward receives sufficient votes, then other members of the council may also make nominations. Right? Means 6 votes to approve.
Peter's also for clarification, the if it got to that point, the people being nominated have to be East Ward residents.
Right, they have to have lived in the East Ward for at least a year.
In
between the wards, because right now it's still first ward, so that's you and Sarah.
They changed the wards.
The wards change at the beginning of the year, so you have Ward 1 East, Ward 2 West.
No, it's the other way around.
I'm sorry.
Because some people think that things should be read from left to right, the way we do in English. Others of us think we should number things the way they've historically been numbered, but those of us who thought that way were outvoted, so.
That's a question.
Oh.
So my point too is the last time we elected Jessica Frick, then it should have been from the West Ward and not a nomination from Casey and Tammy only. Procedurally, that was incorrect.
I would like to point out, that I brought that up and was told I was wrong, and so it kind of carried that. And we fixed it right after that call.
What?
Right after that's when we realized that we had made an error.
I can undo that, so.
I'm just saying I'd like to for the first time.
It was corrected right after that moment. I believe the error was caught.
I brought it up and you all didn't pay attention, so.
All right. So that preliminary. Do we have a nomination from the East Board? And
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Victor Thomas Black, AKA Cat, for the replacement of Josh Granson.
is there a second?
I'll second.
So great. So I have a little thing that I wrote to sort of, I guess. I want to start by laying out a framework that I think we should probably keep in mind when thinking about a replacement of a position. Ultimately, in that decision, we want to consider what the voters decided when they elected Josh, not necessarily who we think would make a good counselor or who would balance or who we're close to. But really, we should consider the will of the voters and what they got with Josh Kratza. What kind of a counselor was he? He was a bold progressive who in a short time brought on real policy change to make us a more welcoming community. This framework that I believe has moved us in a new direction relative to the entire region. We're growing. Nowhere else is growing. Everywhere else is shrinking. We grew when the IUP shrank by half. The borough still grew. The county is projected to grow. I believe it has to do with us deciding to become a welcoming community in a lot of places. Josh paved the bureaucratic steps to allow us to more clearly celebrate and welcome marginalized communities like our queer community, and end up with the first Pride Parade to close IRMC Park. Voters sent an effective, passionate organizer who led with love for his community. Maybe not everybody knew who they were voting for, but anybody who talked to him with much, you'd quickly get the idea that he spent a lot of time standing outside Garda's house wielding a pride flag on a flagpole like a long stick, trying to crack homophobes coming by. Kat is the best suited to replace and contribute to the work started by Josh. This table likely best got to know Kat through their passionate and effective campaign to have council approve the closure of IRMC Park for an incredible pride event. Or as the head of my nomination for best club for 2023, Odd House, a drag troupe for hire that does such radical things as community cleanups. I was impressed with their ability to present their case for a pride event. They spoke passionately, personally about themselves, and more importantly, worked across the aisle and made compromises, something I don't do so well. This Indiana-born and raised successful organizer is the right person to fill Josh's role. In addition, Kat brings to the table the lifetime experience as a trans person living and making a pretty good go of it here in Indiana, wants to be here, wants to bring people, and does bring people here. What an incredible value perspective that this council can have to actively consider and pursue opportunities to become a welcoming community as voters asked with Josh. I hope you can support Kat.
We all call the letter.
Great.
All right.
I thought I had as much. Thanks.
Anyone else have something to add to this? Then,
I did. Don, is there any question about the Pride Festival and were all debts paid from that?
Last I heard, none.
thank you.
Just for clarity, none have been paid or there's none outstanding?
There's 3,000.
Sorry, that was-
How much is outstanding?
I don't know the exact amount, but I heard around 3,000.
Are we ready to vote? You probably ought to do a roll call vote. And you're just voting yes or no?
Palazzo. Kaiser.
Yes. No.
Yes. President, if I could get a second nomination for, from the.
You may want to, I see Don's
I'd like
hand
to
up.
nominate, that's. She, I just point out she's not here because she's working the polls.
Second.
Statement. Betsy Sarnizo was a member of the council until she moved from one ward to another, but she has lived in the East Ward for over a year.
12 to 8, there's going to be a lot of changes coming up, and having somebody with institutional knowledge, knowledge of how the government works, how the committees works, how staff functions is really important right now, more than anything else. And I know there'll be more opportunities coming forward for individuals that want to run, because there was a lot of candidates, and I was really excited and impressed to see how many people wanted to fill this vacancy. So.
Palazzo.
No.
Ford.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
And 4 no.
And carries. We've informed Betsy that she has been appointed. Moving on. Committee reports. Administration Committee has action items. Important. Is the organizational chart, which it's in the packet, I believe, right? The proposed new, this is to clarify some. There it is. It's in your packet. Oh, doesn't need a second. Are there questions about this proposal?
Right.
Motion to approve the resolution to apply for a multimodal transportation fund grant for the Marsh Run Bridge repairs project. Asking to get some money to help fix our bridges.
You get a second on that.
Oh, that one had not been seconded. That didn't come straight from the committee, so we need a second. Is there a second? It's a second. Move to second. Questions on that? Seeing none. All in favor?
I would do a roll call, you're spending money.
Oh, we're spending money. Yes.
With the grant.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
All right, roll call.
Rod,
Yes.
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 Taylor. 12 yes, or 11 yes, 0 no.
Then to apply for a multimodal transportation fund grant for the sidewalk repair program project. And that also needs a second, I believe. Or maybe it doesn't, no.
It says,
Oh, yes,
it says needs second.
without the bridge repairs. The one for the sidewalk repair says it doesn't say it needs a second.
On that, yes, it says needs second, needs second.
And then this one,
Oh, this is this one.
oh, that's that one. Okay, and these is. Would we have a second?
Getting the ones that were identified under the active transportation plan.
It's actually just, this would just be beefing up the coffers of the money that already exists for the sidewalk program. So however you guys have decided internally about how you target those sidewalks would just be a continuation. This is just adding more money to the pot, so to speak.
Okay, any other questions?
Rod?
Yes.
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 Steelman,
Yes.
Taylor, 11 yes, 0 no.
Awesome.
And $100 for to apply.
Spending money. All right. Considered the entire budget and we'll be bringing it to the work session meeting. Hopes of having it approved for advertising so that we can vote on the budget at the December meeting. At that time, we will also be discussing implications for taxes, which as of now, press attention, does not look like we're going to ask for a tax increase. Community development.
Well, to answer. No, there are no specific targeted areas of yet. It's, some different areas have been coming in as complaints come in, but there has not yet been some sort of specific targeted plan of yet. No specific reason why, we just haven't got there yet, I don't think.
Yes.
Come see us at our next meeting. There's lots of sidewalks that I can't get a stroll over, just saying.
But there's still a lot, if you want, there's still a lot, you're in a chair.
Primarily speaking, during the committee meeting, we talked a lot about some of the things we already did last time where we had to update the list for the steering committee. And we talked a lot about the what the action item will be about, hiring Michael Baker International Incorporated. That was the meat of the meeting. And problems communicating with the consultant he was there, Trajan and Jeff, we're Zoom, trying to virtual in, so there was some breakdown there, but that's the basic crux of that meeting. So we have one action item, coming out of community development, concerning adopting officially the Michael Baker International. So, move to award Michael Baker International Incorporated the contract for the zoning ordinance update project.
This said needs to be seconded. Proposal in your packet. Hang on.
And money on this one.
Contract for? 120,000?
120, 110, somewhere in that general range. I apologize. 5 of them were all within a few $1,000s of each other. So it's somewhere right in that wheelhouse.
Here, so
Broad.
Yes.
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 11 yes, 0 no.
community development.
Have anything else you want to add, Ben?
Community development.
I do. When we, some time ago, when we looked at the Build Back Better funds, we set aside some to do some outreach and like driving people to Indiana. We talked about these relocation bonuses to get, and we, I think we hired a consultant to help us think through those things, kind of some of those programs. Do we have any more texture on any of that from
Ben wrote? Not really. I mean, there's been periodic community talk of it, but honestly. Not for lack of trying, and been, but we just haven't gotten much traction on it. So far. So it's not a dead horse, but it's limping. I mean, it's still in the budgets. Yeah.
It's not really enough to use in the building, frankly. Like it gets you like, right, so it would get you like a couple of lights.
You going to spaghetti benders soon,
we
so.
were so successful. I was just gonna suggest, we were so successful with the sidewalk program. A little bit of money went a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gone, it's just.
I'm singing harmony.
He's told me at least exploring it, so.
Community development. Public safety.
Yes, it was brought to my attention. I have an action item. On Light Up Night, coming up on November 17th, Upstreet Ace Hardware has requested, even though Courtway is already closed, for the Light Up Night parade, they're asking to be able to allow 2 food trucks to be parked on their parking site off of Courtway during the already planned closure of 3 p.m. of Philadelphia Street and Courtway. The alleyway may be reopened after all streets are reopened after the parade. So what they're asking is, while the street shut down, they'd like to have 2 food trucks parked in their parking spaces. And Chief wants to do a clarification. Can that be done? Second.
I'll second it so we can.
Patient.
They'd like their Courtway closed at 3 p.m., which is in advance of the parade, for 2 food trucks to be set up in the 00 block of Courtway. The parade road closure will start at 7 p.m. and so it'll be torn down as the entire parade is torn down. The request is from a 3 p.m. closure as opposed to a 7 p.m. closure.
I apologize, I can't remember. Is that the alley or is that the part that goes by Delaney's?
To go to the drive-in for the bank, I think. Isn't it?
It's a little alleyway.
It's in between First Commonwealth and the Hardware.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for clarity, they want the whole road closed, I'm assuming so that foot traffic could get to the food trucks, is that why? Because they have parking there, they could pull the vehicles off the road, but there's no sidewalk there.
Their plan was to put food trucks in that parking lot, but they thought that if the streets were already gonna be closed, that they could, I guess, space things out further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Quickly. Unfortunately, we had a resignation. Patrolman Kennedy Allen resigned from the police force on October 13th. We did get a lot of accolades for the Borough Police Department's response to the shooting up at Chevy Chase. And there was a letter that came in from the Chief Deputy Coroner of Indiana County, who was very pleased with how our officers, when they hear a 911 call, for regardless if it's a shooting, if it's a emergency, for a medical emergency, fire, whatever, they come and they get real involved. And the coroner sent a letter commending the fact that as soon as our officers there, they already know what to do, and he was impressed with their professionalism in helping out with the situation. And also, just to reiterate, we did have we were well represented at the Pennsylvania State Association's Boroughs yearly meeting up in Erie, PA, due to our having Axel and Scout as comfort dogs. It got a lot of positive review. We got a letter from a couple different people regarding that, and it's I really think it's a good example of what Chief Shaw is trying to do with the police force and how he's in the force are approaching things. Hopefully we see some more communities follow this example.
I do have a question.
Yep.
It was actually brought before. There is an outstanding charge of around $3,000 for the Pride Festival. I'd like to make a motion to waive that cost for the Pride Fest for this year. When the borough said we want to do this, this is a fine event, and we voted to hang a pride flag that demonstrates clear support for community. It's a welcoming step, and so if we then turn around and charge the organization $3,000 for those folks who have put together festivals or things kind of on a shoestring, $3,000 means we don't have it again, right? That's a stopper. If we want to have the event again, and we can do this, $3,000 is not a whole lot. We're about to pass a budget about $3 million for the police department. $3 million for the police department. I'm pretty sure, and you don't have to comment, but I'm pretty sure your budget can absorb it. It's not an undue burden. There is precedent to doing this for events that we like. I got on council after I organized a block party. They were going to charge me $500 for security. And I was like, I don't know. That would have said we wouldn't do it. I had not done it again. And that fee was waived. The mayor at the time was like, we should waive that fee. And they did it for the second year as well. We can do that too. That's how we can demonstrate that we're a welcoming community. We say, let's help this event set up. After the third year, probably that's usually we're like, could probably organize your things together. I know, Puma, you got something. The second piece of this is that our security cost was greater than it probably would have otherwise been, partly because of the actions of some folks on council who asked their supporters to risk public safety. I don't know why it was $3,000. I don't know why people were so worried about it, but I do know folks at this table asked their supporters to risk public safety. And so that jacked up that cost. For all of these reasons, I'm hoping that you can support me in waiving this fee.
fee was waived.
Yeah, my fee is five, this is three thousand. I don't know, I don't have.
So there is no precedent for a $3,000 fee being waived.
Sure, no, not for 3,000, certainly one for.
Okay, I just want to establish that point. Okay, I just wanted to establish the point that there was no $3,000 fee waived.
Have they requested a hardship?
I don't think they've requested anything, but they haven't responded, I think, as far as I know. I heard some bad attitudes from folks that they haven't responded. Again, I put together sort of shoestring organization, shoestring events, and if I get a bill for $3,000, I'm gonna have a hard time replying to that. So I don't know. I don't know what the status is with the organizers. I think we should just take it out of their hands and say, we're gonna waive it.
To go along with what you stated, you've also encouraged me to protest. So when folks do encourage people to protest for something that they don't necessarily agree with, I don't think that immediately means the taxpayers have to foot the bill when protesting is perfectly allowed per our constitution. And if people did show up to protest and it did create a security problem, that is a shame on the individuals that did not protest the way that they are allowed to, not on the individual that may have organized the protest.
Folks at this table ask people to risk public safety, so.
It's also not on the people who organized the event that was being protested. Okay.
Are you watching, Peter? For the past 5 minutes.
My one point would be, if we do vote for this, do we open up a can of worms? Where other organizations then will expect, if they have encounter more costs than normal. It's sort of like, here, we can't put stop signs at every intersection. We can't do certain things because then it becomes a standard.
For the record, to my knowledge, no one at this table tried to get someone to come out and protest that event, for the record. I do agree with Don, though. I do think we're opening ourselves up to a can of worms, to having to fund all sorts of events that decide to go downtown.
I would suggest yes. We have never said no to an event organized, brought to us. We have a special event application, and when these have come to us, we've said yes, and that's why we've been successful, is because we've said yes to groups. We've said yes. We've removed barriers. We've made it possible. So, in answer to your question, are we going to get a slippery slope of events happening downtown? The horrors. We're going to want all these events happening downtown. That would be fantastic. I hope that happens. That's what we try to happen. That's why we changed the application to make it easier.
And then Sharon.
I'd like to speak in favor of this. We run a bureaucratic process. And so to say, well, they didn't come ask, assumes they understand our bureaucratic process, which is a little bit, I think is a pretty heavy ask, folks. We did, the cost was higher than anyone anticipated because we did staff up for safety. And I think folks felt justified in encouraging our police to be there. So in part, we made this decision as council to try to increase safety at this event. And I agree with G. We want events, right? We want people, I mean, everyone always comes out and talks about, I really enjoyed that event. I like going to the events. The events are great. And we don't think we want to fund everything all the time, but let's help people bootstrap up, right? I mean, help people get an event going, run the event. I'm gonna keep talking because y'all hands are up. I'm trying to get everybody.
Get an ice bucket.
But we want,
Stimulating.
you should see me in class. But we want to have these things happen. And we've said yes to events of all stripes, and they've been good, right? I don't want to go to all of them, but we have them. And so, yeah, I mean, I would be in favor of us saying, you get 2 years of, we don't charge you to get yourself together. And then after that, we start charging. That's been our sort of de facto approach. But we can make it official, frankly, because it's great. It's good events.
First, Peter, if you, or Mr. President, if you could just remind members of council to please not talk when other people are talking, because I can't hear what goes on there when somebody here is talking because of my personal hearing, and that's a personal thing. And I know this was not on the agenda, so we aren't really prepared, but do you happen to remember how much they were quoted for what this would cost them? And thank you.
supervisors that the expense was going to be large-ish. I didn't obviously know an exact amount, but I did broach this with council, and Councilman Kratza said, I'll pay for it if they can. And that was where we left things. So if a concert like Taylor Swift showed up in downtown Indiana, I would tell you that the expense of that concert for police service would have to be astronomical because of the crowd we anticipate. I mean, it would be larger. So, it's event specific, and it's what we know about the event. But that was the exact conversation, because I too had concern on behalf of the borough about payment for this event, because I knew that it was going to be pricey. So perhaps we could start with maybe a letter to Councilor Kratz, just explaining the situation.
Seem very sick. And yes, I do have mixed emotions about this suggestion, but as public safety, when they came to us and presented it, as Chief Shaw had suggested just now, that he did say it can be astronomical, it can be expensive. They said, okay, we understand, we're taking on that responsibility. We have the funds, we have the ability. So I'm not saying anything negative about it. I'm clarifying that this was discussed. This is an adult agreement that was made, and I believe we prepared for it as best as possible. There is a price for it. So thank you.
Yeah, Sarah's had her hand up. Yeah.
I think that Don's right, that if we're going to waive this, that we've got to plan on waiving any possible fees for any local organization that wants to put on an event in IRMC, at least, as Ben suggested, for the first 2 years, to help whatever these burgeoning organizations are get off the ground. The hair stood up on the back of my neck when G said, well, we can approve groups that we like. We can't just approve groups that we personally like. If we're going to make IRMC a place where lots of events can take place, there may be some that some people on council don't like and don't want to go to, but I think we're going to have to approve all of them. And I think if we accept this idea, that we should probably plan to make it a formal rule that the first 2 years, the borough will cover the investment, and the third year, it's time to put up or shut up.
I'm not spoken on this yet.
Sarah, from administration standpoint, if you're going to budget for expenses at $3,000 at a pop, you need to budget it ahead of time. You can't just ask for money at the end of the budget year and expect the police department to absorb this, number one. Number two, I think Sarah brings up a good point that if you're going to approve willy-nilly whatever then you're setting us up for large expenses, and you're not next, Lucas. And it's completely ridiculous, G.
Okay. Now, I've seen Casey.
I'd like to move to table this discussion until we can get more information and not just make a decision because it's presented to us right at this point.
Signify by saying aye.
No.
Opposed, name.
Nay.
Sounded like the nays sounded, but we ought to have a roll call because there were multiple voices. So Kyle?
Abroad.
Yes.
No.
Men. Taylor. three, 5, 6. It looks like I think we have 7 yeses and 4 nos.
You second, are you the one who seconded? That's what I thought. I'm not gonna miss you guys.
I mean, we really do.
Are we allowed to suggest it goes to committee? Or can we not even say that? About it, should we send it to committee to talk about it?
Oh, the rules of order. Tabling is a misinterpretation. Tabling means taken off the table. Usually then it would go back to where it originated. But this did not come from a committee, it came from an individual member. So it should, that person could take it to a committee or bring it up at a later council meeting, either one of those. Appropriate. Okay. That was on public safety. Is there anything else for public safety? Public work.
Phone is near the mic.
I was out absent from public works, so one of my colleagues will have to.
Okay, Public Works, we have an action item. Construction on the South 15th Street Storm Sewer Project. Carroll Works has completed installation of all the original pipe quantity. Additional pipe added to the project is expected to be delivered shortly. And they had a pay estimate. And the committee moved to pay the estimate of $143,109.22. And that was passed by the committee, so it doesn't need a second, and that's before the council.
I don't understand how it's complete, because I just drove by there today, and the pipes are all sitting out there.
Pipe laying is complete, but they've that project has been added to, and in any case, they still need to do paving, restoration, all those other cleanup things.
Thanks, Mike.
This says for work completed, so it doesn't say it's the final. It says it's
Not the final.
that would be pay estimates 4, 5, and 6.
Right. It doesn't say. We're not to the end of that.
As they go, particularly over several years, contractors need to be paid chunks at a time.
We're going to spend money. So.
Rod, Colazzo, DeBiser, Ford, Frick, Herring, Lancaster, Newell, Smith, Steelman, Taylor. That is 10 yes, 1 no.
Public Works.
Yes, if you're done on the report, I was handed a good a sheet here from Kyle here in a moment. I'm gonna ask him to probably explain it, but this is a little bit of we've moved on the next stage to ending up with a solar array down by our wastewater treatment plant. We spent about $300,000 a year. $300,000 a year on electricity. A big solar array down there, we'll be able to reduce that by 30% right off the bat. Over time, through Get Solar, that will continue to increase. So it's just news to let you know. It's one of these things that like we have some pay estimates here. Now we're going to send out for some bidders, and we'll award that greatest bid, and then they'll put up solar panels, and then we'll start to collect free energy. So that's congrats to this is that not something I've been really involved in. Kyle has moved this really well. But basically, coming out of Public Works, I think our staff maybe a year and a half ago were like, hey, why don't you guys do this? This is what folks are doing, and has been able to move this pretty well.
Did you say we have rough approximate cost and installation costs yet?
I don't. Do we? Do we have rough budgets?
That's what we're, no, that's where we're getting, yeah, that's so we spent about 18 months on section 1 of this 4-phase project. And section 1 was just trying to get everything in place, getting our utility bills. And but when I say us, it's not just us. We also have the YMCA on board, the Humane Society's on board. We have a couple small businesses on board. So this is a giant kind of a nonprofit and a commercial opportunity. And it exists, and this is still ongoing. So if you guys know other nonprofits or commercial businesses that are interested in and enjoying the same benefits of Get Solar, which is PA Solar Center basically does the bulk of the lifting to get you to the point where you can get hard estimates. That's ongoing, and just send them my way, and I'm happy to facilitate that. And then so we're taking advantage of this program on our end because as Gerald pointed out, our electricity costs of the treatment plant are out of control, basically. And we have two options. We can raise rates or raise taxes, or we can think of a third alternative route, which is to reduce our costs. And that's what the solar panels are doing. So
Thank you.
probably within the next 2 months, we'll have hard estimates and actual request bids, for lack of a better word, from qualified installers in the area.
Is there anything else for Public Works? Does the Shade Tree Commission have a report?
Yes, briefly, when we met, we had a resident, Jason Leeper, come to the meeting. He's been to a couple meetings now. He's looking to start a citizens group to grow and plant trees on a volunteer basis. And also, he would get referrals as to what they would plant from the Shade Tree Commission and the arborist. Also, there are going to be 4 trees planted on Philadelphia by the Chamber and down by the Chamber of Commerce and by Josephine's and Knapp's. And in total, there are going to be 24 trees put in the next few weeks. There's a whole list of them I had, but 24 different trees are going to be going in. A couple of them will be on South 7th Street, where they had redone the sidewalks and had taken out the old growth trees there. There'll be, I believe, 4 going in that area, 5 going in that area. And that's it.
Questions for Don?
Were they already?
This is all paid for, yeah.
The people plant the tree, where that, they just raise it?
I don't know. This was all in conjunction with the public parks, our parks department now, with getting trees put in. Some of them are places where trees were taken out, and like the borough took out trees on South 7th Street, and they're going to replace them with better trees than what they had now that the sidewalks are going to be all done.
Mention that at the parking garage exit, there's 2 bushes. And when they're flourishing, people can't see. So when they're walking, cars are coming out to see, and somebody's dogs are almost getting hit, they said. Where do I take that? Public safety?
I would think usually when I've had issues like that personally, I've taken it to Public Works and have the crews go out and take a look.
They trim them back.
And they'll trim them back, yeah.
Mr. President, thank you. Just very briefly wanted to remind members of council in our community that this Saturday is Veterans Day. There will be a Veterans Day parade that's going through downtown Philadelphia Street. That parade will start at 10:45 a.m. on Saturday in 5th and Philadelphia Street, and it will disband in the intersection of 9th and Philadelphia Street. And there will be a brief ceremony in front of the courthouse. And so traffic patterns will be disrupted through downtown for about 2 hours. So we just ask our community members to understand that they're going to have to use an alternate route. And just ask everybody to arrive early to avoid any problems with congestion or parking, because there will be restrictions. And then our largest event of the year, the It's a Wonderful Life Parade and tree lighting will take place on November 17th. That's going to be before our next full council meeting. So I did want to just say that planning is underway. Approvals have been received from PennDOT. We are in coordination with all of our stakeholders who are putting on that event. And I would just ask our community to arrive to downtown Indiana. If you arrive after 5 p.m., expect there to be significant problems with finding a place to park close to Philadelphia Street, which is a good problem, not a bad problem. And just pitch for folks to use the parking garage during that night, because it's the closest you could park to the tree lighting. Be patient. There are going to be large crowds. Be patient, be joyous, and everyone have a safe It's a Wonderful Life Parade and Festival.
Yeah. Question.
Does the parking garage ever get full during the Wonderful Life?
Yes, it does.
Nothing other than under new business.
Okay. The representative sent a report. Did everyone see that? Okay, good. I don't have a report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Just briefly, pay attention to the fire department. We sent our fund drive letter out 2 weeks ago, so, thank you. We, over the years, we've been getting response back from about 20% of the households, which, you know, isn't a lot. It's just something to think about, if more people can participate. And in another week or so, the Citizens Ambulance will be sending out their letters. And the same thing, of course, theirs is all through the county. And again, they're probably getting back about 1%. So we need to hopefully get more people to get involved in contributing, because those entities are very important. It's all about public safety. Yes. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Mayor.
You can go out to our website, indianafire.com, or you can drop a check off at 5th and Philly, right there. The mailbox is right there.
Or it takes cash too.
Cash, crypto.
Is that what you
Mayor
said?
takes
Oh,
cash.
bad. Yeah, no crypto. So it's important that we keep supporting. So you should have gotten a letter. Yeah. Thank you.
Then, is there any old business? New business? Oh, you do have no business.
Late sending it out. I believe timing wise, it can wait to the next meeting to finalize the committee structure.
Yes, you did send.
Am I incorrect on that, that if we were to deal with it during the work session, given the time, that we would still have time? Is that correct?
It can be totally altered by the new council in January, so it's only tentative no matter what.
Sure. But I guess the point is, given the time, I don't see why we couldn't just let it wait, seeing as how I did send it out pretty last minute anyway, give people time to look at it and give feedback.
Like they could vote on it in the first meeting.
Advertise it prior to.
That was the whole reason we were
Right.
talking about doing
We do
that,
have
was
to.
so that the advertisement of
We do
your
have that.
meetings we do in December, but the new council would have the right to change that and re-advertise.
The other thing I sent out, I probably could wait too. So.
We had an attendance policy already. Do we not have an attendance policy?
My understanding was we had not had an attendance policy. Is it, Pat, I had asked you about that. You had said you didn't see anything on the books.
Okay.
I know you had said that, yes,
Yeah,
but
okay. Okay, cool.
Haven't found it. Correct. All right,
Okay, now
new business.
you have stuff for us.
Yeah, I would ask the council to make a motion to hire Brilliant HR Consulting Services and Dr. Reba Johnson, that's her company name, Brilliant HR Consulting Services, to do, human resources consulting with the borough.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Totally seconded it.
Is there any need for any further discussion?
And you are spending money.
We are
so-
spending money, so.
Sorry.
Do you think we need discussion?
I'm wondering if. Maybe it'd be announced more formally, why would, like, I know you read off the title, but.
To do a human resources review of the borough. Yeah, to do a human resources review of our borough policies and procedures. And to assist with any investigations as may be needed.
Okay. All right, Kyle?
Todd, Palazzo, Advisor, Ford, Frick, Herring, Lancaster, Newell, Smith, Steelman, Taylor. 11 yes, 0 no.
These contracts.
Yes, we have a collective bargaining agreement between Indiana Borough and the Teamsters, International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 110. This is your police contract. The employees of the police department have ratified this. I was notified today. Council, we have talked about this previously. And I'm asking that you move to approve this, employment contract.
So moved.
You have a second? Moved and seconded to approve the police contract. Discussion? Seeing none. I guess this involves money too, so.
Yes.
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 Herring? Lancaster? Newell, Smith?
Yeah.
That's right, sure it is.
Okay, so I had one here and then over there for.
That I didn't know where else to ask. I believe this is a question for actually the zoning board. Somebody had asked me about a halfway house moving in. They said there was gonna be a vote, and I'm like, I didn't see this on the agenda. I'm guessing that is a zoning board question. Does that sound accurate to anyone else? Zoning board question. Okay.
I don't remember. I don't memorize these dates.
Not positive. The detail. Yes, that sounds right. Okay. Thank you. I'll pass that to them.
But I am going to be submitting a letter of resignation to Peter, I guess tomorrow, for the remainder of my term. Folks know I've been, my family's super lucky and we're gonna have an opportunity to travel, abroad for 6 months next year. After talking with, folks, it just doesn't seem to make sense for me to try and represent my neighborhood if I'm not actually in my neighborhood, so.
We will have another process.
We're gonna do it again.
You won't.
Another item she wanted.
The flag policy that we adopted some months ago is that we are prepared to fly flags that have been approved, I think, by the Library of Congress as representing a particular month. Well, November is Native American Heritage Month, and I don't know if we need a formal resolution for it, but if a flag, but this was Iroquois land. And the Iroquois Confederacy was actually the inspiration, if you read Ben Franklin, for the formation of the United States Constitution. It was a better model of democracy dating back to the 12th century than anything that existed in Europe at that time. So I think we should fly the flag of the Iroquois Confederacy over the borough building that used to be part of the Iroquois Confederacy. And I'm willing to donate a flag. And do we need a vote on a resolution or just a simple announcement? It's not going to cost the borough any money.
And we already approved the policy to apply those flags, so I don't really. Motion. Whom had a hand up and then,
Sir, did you already find the flag? Did you already find one?
I don't have the flag yet, but I can get one easily. And heritage flags, but actually the Iroquois Confederacy flag is handsomer and more appropriate.
You like her idea? I said that strangely. I did vote to approve the pride flag, the specific pride flag. So if we are going to choose a specific flag to fly, precedent would indicate we voted on a specific one.
or after we pass the general policy.
After, I believe, because we passed the policy, then decided on the flag.
Oh.
Because we had not had the flag decided on.
Yeah, you're right.
And.
That's the list of, and of pictures of all the flags that we were gonna approve. I can't remember if that happened. That did not happen. So then we do need a picture of.
A task, but no, we did not do that.
You want me to Google it real quick for us? Or? Sure.
Because I like the idea, but precedent being what it is.
Native American. Those things ran.
And two, if you want to think about it. He's looking it up.
Sir, did you find the flag?
The double wampum.
Yes.
Yeah.
You send it to me?
The purple one.
Asked her if I carry it around the table and you show it to people.
Yeah.
So it's double row
But
wampum
it's a
with the tree in the middle. So
four connected white squares and an eastern white pine tree in the center on a purple ground.
I second.
Because that's where the Iroquois are based.
By saying aye? Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you.
Something, right?
No question.
Good luck with your wife.
Yeah.